The question is that the bill be now read a second time, and I call the member for Forrest.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I support this bill as it makes amendments to the previous coalition government's announcement and clarifies definitions and existing powers relating to Indigenous persons. The Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility was an initiative of the former government, introduced in 2016, with the objective of NAIF's investment supporting the transformation of Northern Australia by financing projects that generated broad basic public benefits, helping to grow the economy and population of Northern Australia and catalysing private sector investment. Really important, that piece. But by being an innovative financing partner. It was another clear and direct beneficial coalition commitment to rural, regional and remote Australia. A $5 billion commitment originally, which is being expanded to $7 billion in this bill, as announced by the coalition in December of 2021. Of the original $5 billion committed by the coalition, $4 billion has been committed to projects financing in general. There was $2.6 billion for closed deals, over 15,000 jobs, and $29.6 billion in economic benefit from this investment. And what a successful investment it has been, Deputy Speaker. The facts and results speak for themselves. NAIF has already helped to fund many projects which otherwise may have struggled to secure finance or not being able to deliver at all, or have actually delivered exactly what NAIF was intended and set up to do by the investment from NAIF. So projects in Northern Australia in agriculture, tourism, varied power generation projects, port infrastructure, a ship lift, the basics, beef processing, technology and infrastructure, and many others. But with the support of the former coalition government, Deputy Speaker, as Minister for Territories, I worked to have Christmas and Cocos Keeling Islands included in the NAIF, which it is in this bill, and I'm very proud of that, which is where I'll concentrate my remarks on this legislation in item 4, section 5. And this amendment will enable NAIF to provide financial assistance for infrastructure that provides a basis for economic growth and or stimulates population growth in the Indian Ocean territories. Speaker, as the Assistant Minister, I was particularly focused on the need for economic diversification in the Indian Ocean territories. Now, there's been a historic fertiliser mining operation run by Phosphate Resources Limited that has underpinned the economy for so many years, the local jobs and revenues. It's been the main economic activity and driver, and a very important one, Speaker. As the mine comes towards the end of its productive life, it's important that both PRL and Christmas Island transition to alternative economic opportunities. Now, I know that PRL has had a vision for its own transition post-mining into alternative opportunities for the people that have worked with and for them for so long, and for the small businesses on Christmas Island. The company has a project team currently working on plans to develop and construct a resort and other facilities that will facilitate broader regional tourism opportunities. There are also plans around a solar master plan to deliver for potential food and agricultural opportunities and or to power further accommodation and tourism options. Now, I know that these initiatives fit within the specific purposes of NAIF, and there may well be other potential investors with a range of projects that may seek NAIF funding also, Deputy Speaker. Now, while tourism numbers are currently limited in the Indian Ocean territories, there are great opportunities. The island is wonderfully dominated by tropical rainforest and is 63% national park. Now, it's affectionately known as the Galapagos of the Southern Hemisphere. It is the home of unique flora and fauna and is globally famous for its red crab migration. I am really proud, Speaker, that in March of 2022, the Coalition declared 2 new marine parks off Christmas and Cocos Keeling Islands, which together form one of the largest highly protected marine sanctuary areas in the world. And it covers 744,000 square kilometres of remote tropical ocean, reef and lagoon habitat. Now, these parks will help protect the unique marine environments of the Indian Ocean territories and support social and economic outcomes for local communities and other marine users, as well as supporting really tailored tourism ventures in the years ahead. The marine environment of the IOTs is known for iconic species such as whale sharks, turtles, manta rays, spinner dolphins and a vast array of seabirds. There are also lesser known but equally fascinating species, including locally evolved hybrid fish, which result from the mixing of waters from the Indian Ocean and Pacific Oceans. So this unique environment is why I was exploring the opportunities around longer-term research potential on Christmas Island as part of the economic diversification piece. I held a research roundtable and there were ongoing negotiations in this space. And of course, I believe that there's great opportunities there to connect the local students with visiting or resident researchers, engage them and local residents in citizen science as well. I think it might also encourage local students to pursue higher education and possible other university research projects themselves. And we were also looking at other ways of managing some of the challenges, particularly in Cocos-Keeling Island, because often a lot of the plastic waste that comes through from Indonesia lands right on their doorstep. And in the tourism offerings currently, locals and visitors can experience what is a magnificent marine world by either themselves or with a local tour operator, the small business people that we're trying to encourage into diversification. Now, whether that's scuba diving, whether it's snorkelling or kite surfing, kayaking, free diving or fishing, or in fact, there's a wonderful social golf round that brings the community together and the visitors alike, often with very entertaining results when there's special permission across the airstrip that goes with that. It's a very different offering. But it's on the back of the natural environment that there are significant opportunities for tourism development. We know that currently the only flights from Cocos-Keeling Island from Australia are the Virgin flights out of Perth that are subsidised by taxpayers. And during COVID, I had to make specific arrangement with Western Australia to allow these flights to continue. There was a real need for tourism to continue to support the economic side of what was happening on Christmas Cocos and not lose the tourism connection that existed there. We also provided significant funding to support locally needed projects to keep that economy ticking over and locals and small businesses employed during the lockdowns and COVID management periods. In fact, between Christmas Cocos-Keeling Islands, we funded 23 community infrastructure and tourism promotion projects. But while I'm here, Mr Speaker, I would formally like to acknowledge the work of the emergency management teams and the AFP who really assisted throughout COVID in the islands. They helped to keep active cases at a minimum, they managed quarantine requirements and also helped to keep local people and tourists safe. Can I also acknowledge the extraordinary work and commitment of the Australian Border Force and the Ocean Protector and Ocean Shield, doing a power of work protecting our northern borders and assets as part of Operation Sovereign Borders. They are a key part of what happens in the islands. But I do note that Border Force has had to deal with another asylum seeker vessel recently and the return of increase of illegal maritime arrivals. There's been a sharp increase in Operation Tempo, said the Operation Borders commander at Senate estimates in February. This is, of course, as a result of the end that Labor put to temporary protection visas that has given further encouragement to asylum seekers through this process. And I want to thank Border Force for their work in that remote location. I have met in my visits to Christmas and Cocos Keeling, I've met tourists from all over the world, and it is, for them, quite an expensive place to get to. And there are opportunities with a real, true NAIF to get more tourists for the development that's needed in the resorts, the type of accommodation and opportunities that they want and need. There's some really unique offerings. Some of the people that come there, I've met people from Europe, they saved for what for them was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, this trip to the Galapagos of the Southern Hemisphere, the crab migration, the unique remote eco-cabins that I saw, and so many other unique and special experiences that people can have. And all of these options call for further investment in either suitable resort or tourism development opportunities that really fit the NAIF criteria, Deputy Speaker. And make no mistake, there is absolutely a need for really enduring economic diversification in the Indian Ocean territories. Again, a key goal of NAIF's investment, which is to support the transformation of Northern Australia by financing projects that do generate that public benefit, help to grow the economy and help to catalyse private sector investment. That's what's going to work in Christmas Island. Now, the population is around 1,700 people, Cocos Keeling about 600, median age of 38. What a great opportunity. And one of the great challenges, it's 1,550 kilometres from Australia, one of our most remote parts of Australia, which is why there's a real incentive here for NAIF to support tourism development and growth, particularly when there's at least one serious investor with an existing and enduring commitment to the island, its people and its businesses. Because in spite of what is a unique environment and the experiences available I've described, tourism in many instances is quite limited in its accommodation options, and particularly the options that many tourists are actually seeking. And NAIF investment could assist in opening up current and future opportunities in the IOTs. And in the couple of minutes left, I'd just like to say that one of my favourites there, Deputy Speaker, is the extraordinarily large robber crab. That is a protected species that you can't either in any way touch it, run over it, or harvest it, for want of a better word. And certainly, I had a really interesting experience in encouraging a group of about 6 or 8 massive robber crabs to move out of the way on the road late at night when we were coming back from a meeting. They understood that they had right of way, and as a dairy farmer used to herding cattle, Deputy Speaker, let's put it this way, I was the one encouraged to actually encourage the big robber crabs to get off the road far enough for us to be able to travel. But I'd say to people, please take advantage of what is one of the most unique places that Australia has to offer. And through the NAIF, I'm hoping that further investment and greater, more diversified economic opportunities then become available for this great community and such an important part of our northern security as well for our assets in the northern part of Australia. So on those comments, Speaker, thank you.
The question is that this bill now be read a second time, and I call